Is Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Slecker and Dr. Johnny Lupinacci, educated educators talking education.
There it is, Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk, educated educators talking education. Wednesday night, yes, we are still live from the State Street studio in Madison. No, not Johnny tonight. Yes, we told you we gave Johnny 3 days off, so we're letting him have 3 days off. But it's me and Jess again. Yes, Jess, how are you, Jess?
I'm a little tired.
We have been working, haven't we?
Yeah. Yes, we have.
Yeah, the WPEN, Wisconsin Public Education Network, their 10-year summit here in Madison. Last night, all day today, got there early in the morning. I had to have a cup of coffee.
You've had like 6 cups of coffee today, Tim. I'm a little concerned.
This could be a problem later tonight when I'm like, why can't I sleep?
Why can't I sleep? I don't understand
Can't do it, Well, I tell you what, though, it was great, though, last night getting to take you and Aaron to the Minocqua Brewery tap room in Madison.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Because the best thing, Busted Pencils is sponsored by the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room. Minocqua Brewing Company, they are awesome public school supporters. They sued the state of Wisconsin to try to end the voucher program. They are making Wisconsin great again, one beer at a time. Check out MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. You can get their beer, their swag, everything there. And Kirk, thank you for hosting Jess, Aaron, and me last night. And Jess, you got to see me partake in a rare thing, which was I had a half a beer.
You had a full beer.
I don't know if you noticed I left about a quarter.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
I typically get yelled at. But it's Busted Pencils. It's fully leaded.
That was good beer, though.
It is good beer. It's a great place, and we love that they are our sponsor for the show. 855-752-4842 is the number if you would like to give us a call, jump in on the show. So Johnny's not here. We're at the Wisconsin Public Education Network. We're at the summit. We're talking to all kind of people. And we run into an old friend. He's been on the show probably about 5 or 6 years ago. But welcome back to Busted Pencils, Bert Zipper or Bert. What's happening, my friend?
Tim, it's good to see you. It's good to be here.
We appreciate you, man.
Vice versa.
That event is awesome.
It was great. It was fabulous. It was hopeful. It was informative. It was dynamic.
Yeah, the whole idea, 10 years, though, too. I didn't realize that the Wisconsin Public Education Network had been in operation all that time. Great sessions, lots of great speakers. Your thought, though, just right away, any quick standout?
Just their focus. Their focus is if you support public education, then you got to fund it.
Yeah.
And you got to fund it fully. And no kid was ever educated without enough money to be invested in that good education, good public education.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
So one of the things we've been doing, lately since the Harris change, of which we've all acknowledged is so exciting and makes us feel empowered. We're talking from public education voters, though, this decision to go for a vice presidential pick. And the question of, if you're a public education voter, is there a vice presidential potential nominee that makes more sense, or are there ones that don't? And your thoughts.
I don't have the names.
Okay.
But I think that's a critical question. Governors, for example, that have supported vouchers and have supported diverting public education dollars to the private schools, I would have...
Okay.
I would feel bad about that.
So what we've been saying on Busted Pencils, the short list we keep hearing is Bashir, Waltz, and Shapiro.
Is Bashir still on that list?
I thought he was still on the list. I know it's getting pretty narrow now, down to kind of like Shapiro, Waltz. It seems like that they're the top two. I don't know, Jess. Maybe here we'll do the first thing. Look that up for me, Jess, and see if you.
Okay.
No. But Shapiro, the governor from Pennsylvania, my original home state, he is a voucher supporter. And we've been saying, I think that should take him out of the consideration. Why would you want to alienate public education voters?
Exactly.
Okay.
Especially when you've got other choices that are
Yeah, and we keep hearing this though too but Shapiro brings, Pennsylvania massive electoral votes, and can you public education people maybe look the other way?
They always say that, don't they?
I know, right?
It's and I think there's some good research that says vice presidential candidates do not necessarily bring their home states,
right? But
a good vice presidential candidate can win over various people, and I think this is important.
Yeah, because we've been saying it's just like, well, especially when you think now too, if it's really coming down to Walz. Mm-hmm. What a great vice presidential pick, because here you go, 4th grade teacher, rural Minnesota, union leader, sharp, not weird.
Not weird.
Well, and then let's go back to another historical period, Obama's education secretary.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Right? And people are like, does it matter? Well, so now that's the other twist, though, because we had a caller call in and say, Tim, Jess, Johnny, maybe you guys shouldn't worry so much about the vice president. And who is the Harris campaign looking at for Secretary of Education? And if we knew that, would that change our mind in saying, okay, the vice president pick doesn't matter because we know this is the Secretary of Education? Your thoughts on that calculus?
I think who you pick for your first pick sends a message about who your next picks will be. So I think what's okay to buy you, what is possible for you to support, and I think you want your first pick to be good.
I do too, and to keep the excitement going.
Oh yeah,
And it said so. We're at the 10-year summit of all of the the entire state of Wisconsin, every public education supporter there, and I gotta say that if that group found out or heard during today that Shapiro was going to be the vice presidential nominee, I got to think that group would be very disappointed today.
Well, and I think the excitement and the dynamism, the 10,000 people at yesterday's rally, for example, for Vice President Harris, you don't want to take air out of that movement. You've got 98 more days to go, and you'd take the air out of the movement with a pro-voucher supporter.
855-752-4842 is the number. If you want to jump in, give us a call, a guest. Madison Teachers Incorporated, retired teacher.
School counselor,
but we're a classroom teacher too.
Worked in the classrooms with teachers. Absolutely.
Okay. How many years?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. Although we sat around the other night asking who had the most seniority. Well, last night at the event, and I was clearly out of the running because there was like 43 years and 37 years and 38 years.
So that made you feel good?
I felt like I should go back and do about 12 more years.
Well, you're like, okay, I'm not as old as I feel. There are people older than me.
That might be true.
It's frightening that you just said that, though, too, with the 30 years, because I don't feel like I've been in this business for 33 years, but I have. My first teaching job was in 1990.
And you keep running into students who are like,
yes,
in their 40s.
Wait a minute, because I'm like, that was yesterday. That was last month.
Yeah, I think time is a percentage of our life.
Yeah.
So in the first 5 years of our life, a year is 20% of your life. Where today it's like 1.
So, yeah, we are there. Oh, check this out, though, too. Got a new number, 608-610-1126, 608-610-1126. If you're out there trying to call, try that number. You will definitely get in on that number. Sorry for giving out. We're moving studios. We said this is civic media. One of the ways you can avoid part of this, though, download the Civic Media app. Bert, I don't know if you did it, although I got to say, I'm not sure your phone does apps.
The flip phone doesn't do apps as well. You are correct. But everybody else can do it.
Okay. But yeah, check it. Download the Civic Media app. That way you can always have Busted Pencils. We always point this out to our listeners in Finland. If they didn't have the Busted Pencils app, they couldn't, or the Civic Media app, they couldn't listen. Yes, Bert, we have 2 listeners in Finland.
I love that. And I've always admired your education approach because I think we have to be relentless and dedicated and courageous in defending public education. It's the basis of democracy.
It's our democracy. And you say, I've been thinking about this, right? All these talks about indoctrination, and it's just like, okay.
Indoctrinate you into the Bill of Rights.
It's like, wait, so if we're going to indoctrinate you in democracy, you got a problem with that?
Exactly.
Like really, you got a problem with democracy indoctrination? Yeah, that's what we try to do here, though. It is, Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk, educated educators talking education. And mostly, Bert, we're trying to get the message out to my neighbor. My neighbor who actually does like public schools,
right,
but hears the misinformation, hears the disinformation, gets confused, votes for policies that they didn't know was going to actually undermine their public schools, because so much of the rhetoric comes across as it starts to sound like common sense, failing schools. Well, they must not be talking about my failing school, so they're talking about the school down there.
Exactly.
So we've said we always are trying to bring this to, yes, we know teachers, we know public school supporters love Busted Pencils. What I want to do, though, too, is get that person out there right now who's driving home and going like, wait a minute, I think what Bert and Tim are talking about, that makes sense to me. I love democracy.
Exactly. And the idea that every single person in this country has the right to enter a public school, to be a student, and get a full, complete education.
It's just like, why is this radical to say that every child deserves and, in fact, should be entitled to not just an adequate education. In fact, that was one of the words that was used today, and we're going to talk about that. Again, the Wisconsin Public Education Network 10-year summit. Bert Zipperer, Jess was there, Tim was there, hanging out, talking to all kinds of great people, lots of great sessions. We're going to talk about some of those sessions. 608-610-1126 is the number if you want to call in, though, and get on the show. Hey, also, if you're following us on Facebook right now, you can see probably 2 of the most incredibly awesome looking guys that you've probably ever seen on you're following on X. You can see us on the Civic Media X account and YouTube. Yes, we're out there. You don't have to call. You could text in your question if you're one of those people that says, I don't like to hear my voice on the radio. It is kind of weird. It took me a while to get used to hearing my own voice.
It's a little spooky.
It's just like, wait a minute, what the heck is happening? Our guest, though, right now, Bert Zipperer, Madison Teachers Incorporated, retired, talking about what happened today at the Wisconsin Public Education Network Conference. Public education supporters all over. Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. When we get back, Bert, got a question for you. Okay,
I'll try to have an answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to stump you. So stay tuned for more. Bert Zipperer. You guys love Busted Pencils music. How about that, Bert?
I love that.
Again, I say, we're trying to bring it, man. Because,
you got it.
Hey, I like NPR, but you know what? That's not what we are. We are Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. We are educated educators talking education. And we are absolutely, indoctrinators of democracy.
That's what I hear. And civic rights and Bill of Rights and other things.
I was just thinking about that. It's like, we talked about that. It's like, if you're against democracy, okay, then maybe you do have a beef with us. I'll give you that. But do you really want me to stop advocating democracy?
Like that fair discussion of ideas and voting and things like that?
It's crazy. There's an insanity there that I think just kind of takes us away from what we're supposed to be doing. It is Busted Pencils, and we are here with our guest, Bert Zipperer, Jess and Tim. All 3 of us, we have been at the Wisconsin Public Education Network 10-year summit. attending sessions. Jess,
Yes.
you were at a session right away this morning. What do you think? What was it about? Give us your take.
Ooh, boy. Okay, so the first session that I went to today was on equity and excellence. And this is something that we got into yesterday when we had Dr. Joe Gothard on. We posed this question to him, like, is there potentially sort of this conflict between equity and excellence? Because it doesn't seem like there should be. And a lot of people on certain ends of a spectrum, leaning maybe towards the right, sometimes will go like, oh yeah, equity, that's great and all, but what about test scores? What about kids learning their Common Core curriculum? And it's like, well, you can do all of that. You can do all of that. And this presentation was so much about how you can find the gifts that each child has. It's not that some students are gifted and talented and other students have no gifts and no talents. Every child has gifts and talents. And finding that gift, finding that talent, fostering it, nurturing it, and then helping it bloom. And what I really loved, one of the presenters is an astronaut.
No, like an astronaut.
Like an astronaut. I
Whoa.
mean, she hasn't been to the International Space Station, but she did fly in 0G.
Nice.
With a science experiment that was designed with her class. We actually got an interview with her that will be airing either on Friday or on Monday.
Nice.
Super, super exciting. And just, it was really good energy just to sit and talk about every child's excellence. And on the other end of the spectrum, Tim, I hear that your first session that you went to was not about excellence.
It was not about excellence, Bert.
What was yours?
Wisconsin State Reading Association was talking about
The science
of reading. And I got to say, I'm going to hold this because we got some great guests. They're going to come on and do a whole show. But yeah, and we've busted pencils. We have taken this on multiple times. This quote, science of reading. First of all, it's not science. The science of reading is a marketing scheme.
Right.
And it truly is a push to buy materials that are, quote, aligned with the science of reading. And there's been a lot of kind of this going, it's like, well, what can you teach? What can't you teach? When it comes to the teaching of reading, I've always been in the camp that I do whatever it takes to help that kid learn to read.
Yes.
If that's letter recognition, then we're going to do letter recognition. If that's jumping into a book already because they're coming in reading already, they're getting a book. I, as the teacher, make that determination with the professional knowledge that I have so that's science.
Yep.
So, here in Wisconsin, though, Act 20 is what it's called, which is this mandate, which we see going across all of the states in the country, in my home state now where I'm at in Ohio, truly a draconian effort on the science of reading. I got to say the one bright spot here in Wisconsin that I found out is that there is a little bit of leeway in Act 20 to not use every prescribed curriculum only.
Did they give you a warning before they send you straight to jail?
Yeah, you get a little bit of a warning. But I stood up in my session and said, I'm like, you guys got to understand. I mean, this is horrendous, but let me tell you how horrendous it is in Ohio. If you are not using state-approved curriculum, you can lose your teaching license.
No kidding.
Seriously.
Wow.
I mean, and that is like, that's the insanity. L.A. Tom's on the phone?
He sure is.
All right, L.A. Tom, what's happening, our friend?
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tom.
Are you on the air? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We're
man.
on.
What's happening? You're on the air too.
Okay, I apologize. First off, we the people ultimately are the government, and we must never forget that. Just
Popular
like
sovereignty.
just like there's union, just like a union is democracy in the workplace, and we need to remember that.
Absolutely.
Again, I just want to caution everybody about whether it is Josh Shapiro or whoever. Let's not demonize. Let's push, because there's a difference. And the thing is, whether it is a Kamala Harris administration, that vice president is going to have to go along with what the president is saying. It's her agenda. It's not his. Now, I'm the person that said Tim Walz would be very, very good at the Department of Education.
Yes.
But again, I think very, very simply that we need to be educating people each and every day about the fact of how dangerous it is to vote for a third party in this country at this time with Project 2025, and we really need to have a discussion about this.
No, L.A. Tom, I mean, when you're talking about that, it said the stakes, though, Bert, and this is the thing, are so high, right? It's just
Absolutely.
like so does the vice presidential pick of Kamala Harris send you to not vote and then potentially go, well, it's like then the other choice is Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
So not voting is a vote for Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I know. So L.A. Tom, we love this. And so L.A. Tom is saying we want to push, and so we've been saying what we're trying to do here at for the Harris campaign, because we know they listen to Busted Pencils all the time. Because if they want public education, talk, they're going to come to this show, because where else would you go? We're saying, okay, we want to push the Harris campaign to consider the possibility that maybe Josh Shapiro isn't the best choice, given that you have a Tim Walz.
Exactly. And I think, anyway, you go.
No, it's, or an Andy Bashir, right? They're there. A Mark Kelly, right?
I think too often we elect people and then we don't push them. And then we look back, it's like, well, that didn't go well. So I think pushing from the beginning, and of course supporting her because fascism or Harris.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the other part where you're going, okay, wait, the choice is, oh my goodness, that's a choice. The choice is democracy or not.
Or not.
Exactly. So yeah, it is Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. The number 608-610-1126. Our special guest tonight, Bert Zipper, Madison Teachers Incorporated, retired school counselor, talking Wisconsin Public Education Network 10-year summit. Got a lot more to talk about. Yeah, can't wait. In fact, we're going to come back and say, Bert, what was your favorite session? More when we get back. Oh, yeah, you know it. Busted Pencils, Bert's got that look.
I love this.
I love this, right? Yeah. Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk, educated educators talking education. Sharing a lot of reflection on the Wisconsin Public Education Network 10-year summit. The sessions we were at, Jess, great session. So I talked about my favorite session. And we said we got to come back. Bert, you led a session, but was that your favorite session, or was there a session that stood out?
I liked all three sessions, including my own.
Okay.
So we did a voucher one,
Yeah.
a school finance one, now the reality of school finance in Wisconsin. And then we did our Act 10 and the effects of Act 10 in the current court case.
Yeah. And come on, got to have a favorite.
I like them all.
Okay.
I hate to say
Make a
that.
choice.
I hate to say that.
Yeah, sorry, you're not weaseling out. You're not going to get weird on us tonight right now, Bert.
No more weird.
But it was one of those great conferences where, you didn't go to three workshops and two of them were good and one was disappointing. None of them were disappointing.
No, and I think when you see something like this, like Jess and I were looking at, getting ready for the conference, planning our mode of attack, and you're looking at, there's this session. Well, I want to go to that one. I want to go to that one. I want to go to that. I can't go to all of them.
Right.
Because like you said, and that again to the testament to the leadership of the Wisconsin Public Education Network to put together such an just exciting group of people to hear, that you truly had to go like, okay, if I go to this one, I'm not going to hear this one.
Right.
And you got to make a decision. But that's what it's like when you have a packed house of rock stars.
Well, and the workshops were packed with people who were really thoughtful and were asking great questions.
Yeah.
So it was good all the way around. And the two plenary sessions were really special. Yeah.
So what you think of Jennifer Berkshire? She's the Education Wars.
She was good.
Yeah.
She was good. She was on that panel.
Yeah,
with the two other people.
Yeah,
and all three of them were great.
they're awesome. And
have you had her on the radio?
Jess got a spot interview with her, right?
Yes,
Jess?
I did.
Yep. And I actually know Jennifer Berkshire for she actually has a really cool podcast called Have You Heard?
Yes.
And not the same as Busted Pencils. We do a little bit different, but I mean, she's a gifted writer.
Mm-hmm.
We got a spot interview, but we did also get a commitment from her that we're going to have a full episode with her on the show, especially to talk
great.
about. I mean, the book, The Education, where she really lays out what's at stake, and people, I get this all the time. He's going like, aren't you being over dramatic? Destroying public education? Do you really think that that's what they're going to do? And I'm like,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
no, there's no over dramatizing this.
You don't take out all the resources and just leave this shell of a thing behind that putters along and somehow provides minimal resources to people. Yeah, it's foundational to society. It's a sacred institution that is a foundation for a democracy where everyone gets full access to a full education, and we have a commitment to fund it, not just fund it, but invest in it.
Well, and the thing too is like, so, and we fully realize that it hasn't been perfect.
Right.
It hasn't been.
Oh, yeah.
It has failed students, and we hear from that in families and communities, but it still is the only one committed to all children.
Everybody.
Truly all children. And you talk about that.
By constitutional fiat.
Yes. And that truly is. You say, yes, academic achievement is the goal. Learning to read and write, learning to do math, that is the goal of public education. But more importantly, I try to point out to people, it's that inclusive reign where diverse peoples come together to learn to be in community with each other. In other words, democracy.
And where else does that happen in our lives? There is no other institution that I can think of.
Right.
Except maybe the highway. Okay. And then we're all in our separate cars. But where else is everybody together? Literally everybody.
Right. In fact, it's the law.
It's the law. And I think we have to reclaim the word right. We have the right to a full, complete public education, each and every one of us.
And that's actually one of the ones. So I went to a session, and I want to talk about that. Is that this word adequate came up?
Ooh.
Because constitutionally, and a lot of state constitutions, Wisconsin is one of them, that actually says that all children are required, entitled to an adequately funded education.
1848 language.
Yeah, right. And the kind of trick with adequate is that if you ever ask the parent, is your goal to get your child an adequate education, they'd be like, no, it's a great education. But when we take adequate, though, and then you point out to people going, like, we haven't even funded adequate yet. And so thinking about that and going, so what is this constitutional guarantee towards an adequate education? We haven't met that yet.
And also something that's not inadequate.
What, Bert? Sorry about that. You weren't ready for the bell, Bert.
No.
This is our democracy in action time. This is where
I warned him, but I didn't tell him exactly when.
Didn't tell him when it was coming. Jess, it's democracy in action. What do you got for us?
Today's Democracy in Action is, unsurprisingly, about the Wisconsin Public Education Network's annual summit. Today, we have heard so much about diversity, and we have heard so much about common good. I went around with a recorder, and I kept asking people, what's the purpose of public education? What's the purpose of public education? And almost every single person said it's about the common good. It is about the right of every American, whether they are a citizen or not, to have a high quality education, and that public education is where we come together. Exactly what you were just saying, that this is a place where everyone, with everything that they bring with them, every part of their identity, every part of who they are, comes together with a whole bunch of other people as they are. So the
That's right.
The core democratic values that we are highlighting today are diversity and common good.
Thank you. Democracy in action. Yeah. Every day, Bert, when you hear that bell go off, we do a democracy in action.
And that was a beautiful one, Jess. Thank you.
Thanks. I thought the blah blah was especially good.
Well, I thought you did that better than most.
Thanks.
Yeah, the last time I tried to do blah, 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 it didn't. Actually, that one sounded pretty good, though. I kind of think, blah, blah, blah. How about that? For some reason, I'd say it's Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. It is not blah, blah, blah. It is educated educators talking education. Our guest, Bert Zipperer, Madison Teachers Incorporated, retired school counselor. The number 608-610-1126, 608-610-1126. You can call in if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on X, or truly, come on, let's call it Twitter the way it's supposed to be. You can send us a text, too. Text in your question, text in your comment. We want to know public education. One of the other sessions, Bert, that I went to, this is the other one. Statistics, damned lies, statistics. I can't remember the exact thing, but
lies, damned lies,
lies,
and
damned
school
lies,
vouchers.
and school vouchers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you're sitting there going, it's just like, whenever you hear somebody saying, but school choice works, they typically bring with them some kind of a bar graph that shows how awesome school vouchers are.
My bar graph's bigger than your bar graph.
Yeah. And the session I was at, too, Chris Saldana, he's been on the show multiple times.
He was good.
He's awesome, great, University of Wisconsin-Madison professor, just kind of laid out and said, sorry, when they bring out the bar graph, it might be a statistic, but it's a damned lie.
Bingo.
And so how you bring those together, it's like, wait, they've got a bar graph. It must be true. No, statistics are statistics, but they're not necessarily true. And like you said, I can kind of create all kinds of statistics that look like they're trying to say something.
Yep.
But yeah, when it comes to, do vouchers improve academic achievement by the students that take them? The answer is now, after 35 plus years, no, they don't. They don't.
Right.
Which is why, though, you hear vouchers now, too, in their latest rendition, the voucher supporters, they don't even make the case anymore that it's about a better education. It's a parent's right.
Now they've changed it. Yep.
Yeah, it's a parent's right because they don't have the statistics, the damn lies, to go anymore because they're lies. It doesn't stop them from still trying to throw out there the lies that school choice leads to a better education. It doesn't. But now, though, truly this whole idea of going, it's a parent's right. And it's like, well, partially it is a parent's right to insist that the state live up to the constitutional amendment that says, as we pointed out in Wisconsin, and fully funded adequate education. That's your right. That's a parent's right. You don't have the right to ask me, the taxpayer, to give you tax money to send your child to a private school.
Exactly.
You have the right to send your child to a private school on your dime.
Bingo.
Why is that so hard for people to get?
Good question. It's a really good question. I think you make people afraid. Fear and hate are kind of the two main ingredients here.
Those are powerful factors.
They are. I mean, you're afraid for your children in the school that you're hearing all these terrible things about, and then whip up some hate of those people that are
those people.
And it's all based on damn lies.
Damn lies.
Absolutely.
And you say the fear and truly, the segregation. But the session 2 points that out multiple times. Guess what? Vouchers comes out of the Brown versus Board of Education.
Oh my gosh!
From people who said, I'm not sending my kids to school with those kids. At that time, those were African-American kids. And
Absolutely.
So, the state's going to give me money to send my kids to a private school.
Suddenly, the private academies have money.
Yeah. And so people are going like, no, vouchers do not have their history and roots in failed public schools. They have their history and roots in segregation and racism.
Exactly.
Sorry, let's get that right. 608-610-1126 is the number. If you want to challenge me on that, too, you're always welcome to call in. I know there's a couple of people out there going, but kids in failing schools shouldn't have to stay in failing schools. And I would say on that one, you're right. So then let's fund their school
Fully
so that we can at least fund them to the adequacy levels that the state constitution guarantees in that right to a public education, Bert.
Exactly. And I think the adequate word is that it's not inadequate.
No.
So was it inadequate? No. Okay.
No. And even that, you really point this out. I think Chris Saldana loved the way he kind of lays this out and going, it's like, guess what? The state legislature in Wisconsin has not lived up to the constitutional requirement. They just haven't. And so when somebody says that's failing public school, it's just to go, okay, it's a defunded
Bingo.
public school that was put on the chopping block intentionally. And in fact, if we, quote, had a failing public school, why are we not directing resources at that school to, quote, pull it out of failing? I hate the whole word of failing, but is it a challenge? Or do certain students in certain populations in certain communities have challenges? Yes. And guess what, though? No one's ever going to address that issue because guess what the number one challenge is? It's poverty.
Right. And when we have a failing highway, we fix the highway.
Yeah. But, but poverty, we don't want to fix poverty because if those kids learn to read and do math and pull themselves up by the bootstraps, they'll get out of poverty. It's like, you know what? That's a nice saying, but it just doesn't work because anybody says, when you say, well, what's happening? Guess what? Sorry, but when you give a kid food, when you give them health care and you give them shelter, their academic achievement scores go up.
Bingo. Exactly.
Holy crap. Who would have thought?
There's not an achievement gap. There's an opportunity gap.
There's an opportunity gap. And you say, yeah, Dr. Joe Gothard, who's going to be the new superintendent here in Madison School District.
He just started.
And he reminded us that last night to hold true to realizing that, look, equity isn't just some type of wishy-washy thing, but if we're really going to go after equity, we're going to start to address those opportunity gaps.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, so the state legislature isn't even funding the academics the way it should be adequately. But come on, man. It's busted pencils. It's fully leaded education talk. I cannot believe we're almost out of... Jeez.
Whoa.
One more coming back, 608-610-1126. Hey, you got one more chance.
Be great to hear from you.
Give us a call. There it is. Little Seven Dust. School's Out for Summer. Bert, I don't know if you recognize that song, but that's a remake of Alice Cooper's
No way.
School's Out for Summer.
Oh, man.
This is how we end every show, School's Out for Summer. We come in, there's a band called Seven Dust who redid this, obviously a metal version.
Right.
You can hear that. But that's what that's the other part of it. When you're listening to Busted Pencils, you get great education, public education, democracy talk from educated educators, talk education, but you get the best music around. The best bumper music. Jess, thank you so much for doing that all the time.
My joy and pleasure.
You're a genius.
You are.
Bringing that in.
Aw, thanks.
Educated educators talking education, Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. The number's 608-610-1126. Our guest, Bert Zipper, Madison Teachers Incorporated, retired school counselor. Jess, Tim, Bert, all just spent the day at the Wisconsin Public Education Network 10-year summit.
All the educated educators.
All the education. There was a lot of education talking going on.
There was a lot of people there.
There were.
Yeah.
And you say it's like because this was the entire state of Wisconsin, and so I talked to a person, maybe this is what we take, favorite person I talked to a person who, first of all, did I'm just a stay-at-home mom. And it's like, stop it right there, because what a ridiculous thing. My wife did no such thing as just.
No such thing as just.
But she's out in southwestern Wisconsin, rural Kickapoo.
Right.
And guess what she's doing? She's rallying her neighbors to support the local public schools. And she made the trip to Madison to show that she's a public school supporter. We're actually just got her name, got her number. We're going to have her on the show to kind of come in and talk about saying, and the first thing is no, you're not just.
Drop the just.
Just nothing. You are a public education advocate and supporter.
Which makes you a democracy warrior.
Makes you a democracy warrior.
Exactly.
An indoctrinator of democracy.
We're reclaiming that word.
I was thinking about it just before the show. I'm like, okay, is that pushing the boundaries to say that we are the indoctrinators of democracy?
Yeah, sure. We'll try it.
Why not? One of the other things when Johnny, my co-host, is on, bro, we sit there, blue-collar scholars.
Yep.
We try to come at this and go like, sorry, that's just who we are. Johnny grew up in Detroit. I grew up in Pittsburgh. Sorry, we're just blue-collar scholars, kind of just chopping it up, saying what's going on, and we're public education, foundation of democracy supporters. And yeah, if you're, quote, against the indoctrination of democracy, you might not like our show.
Right.
But I'm not going to apologize for having a pro-public education show because it's a pro-democracy show. Sorry, that's what it is. People are like, you do a show like on like bulletin boards and stuff like that or something? Like, nah,
The number of people today who are like, oh, you've got a radio show about education, like NPR, and just going,
nah, not like NPR. It would say, NPR listeners.
No disrespect to
no
NPR.
Disrespect.
We're just not them.
Yeah, we're just not them. And NPR, you do great work the way you do. We didn't need another NPR.
Right.
We needed Busted Pencils.
And Tim. And Jess.
Tim, Jess, and Bert,
and
Johnny, and the guests we've had.
Soon.
Johnny will be back soon. I mean, we have had, Matt Damon's mom, regular appearance on the show. Did you know that?
And wow. And you know who she lived next door to?
Howard Zinn.
Yeah, I love that.
We've actually interviewed her where she's really talked about that growing up, and in fact, how Matt Damon maybe threw something in the yard one time and got yelled at by Howard Zinn.
I haven't heard that story.
I'll have to tell you that one, but actually though, she really talks very powerfully about growing up with Howard Zinn being their next door neighbor, and in fact just she really loved that. But back to the science of reading, one of the reasons though we also we have a segment every month with Matt Damon's mom. What would Matt Damon's mom say? She came on last month to talk about science of reading because this 3 cueing method, which has been This is outlawed in Wisconsin, so it's outlawed everywhere. The idea that you might, Bert, when I'm looking at a book and you're reading words and you might not get that word, I say, Bert, look at the picture.
Oh, right.
That's a cue.
That's right.
That's illegal now.
No pictures.
No clues. No
context.
No context allowed.
We're not.
And
No meaning.
No, and Dr. Nancy Carlson Page, Matt Damon's mom, was like I was part of the original research that helped create the 3 cueing method, because guess what? We give people multiple tools to learn to read.
And it helps them to learn to read.
So this is the craziness where it's like we've outlawed. We've outlawed a teacher's ability to say, Bert, look at the picture.
The science of making money from reading.
It's like
curriculum.
Yes, completely.
Now, who's going to police that, though, too?
Right.
My teacher told me to look at the picture today, Mom.
Here.
Oh, let's get them written up. We got to get them on the science of reading police. This is
ridiculous.
Oh, man. 608-610-1126 is the number to call if you want to join us. I said our great guest to come in, Bert Zipper of Madison Teachers Incorporated, school counselor, retired right now.
Yeah.
But Bert, again, really appreciate you coming in to talk.
It's a delight to be with you two today.
It was so good to see you too, because I hadn't seen you
it's been a few years.
Yeah, and I said because for the listener going like, I used to live in Wisconsin.
You did some great work at a local university here.
I was the dean of the School of Education at Edgewood College in Madison.
Exactly.
And not there now. But
you did great work.
Thank you.
Really
Appreciate
great
it.
work.
And I got to meet great people like you when I was here. So when I ran into you at the conference, I was like, Bert, yes.
Oh my God, it's Tim.
And then I'm like,
You were the first person that Tim pointed out to me, by the way. We got there and he goes, oh, Bert's here.
and I was like, and Jess. I got a show because Bert, I'm like, I got a producer.
Yeah, Tim kept showing me off.
I'm on real radio.
I'm like, holy crap, I got a real producer. I'm like, remember how I used to call you and bug you to be on the show? And then, like, that I've got someone
That's
now.
my job now.
And she's good.
And she's much better than me, who used to just call and bug people. But I mean, even that, though, too, just pointing out Civic Media, which is now where Busted Pencils
Right.
is, and again, for anybody listening out there, yeah, it is across the entire state of Wisconsin. Wherever you can get a radio signal, you can get it. Speaking of that, man, Bert, here it is. Check it out. Bert, I would tell you right now, you want something to do? Go to Minocqua Brewing Company. They are a huge sponsor of Busted
Yes.
Pencils. Love them.
I've
Appreciate
got
them.
several of their beers in my refrigerator.
Bert Zipper,
Tim, thank you so much.
thank you so much for
It's been a
Busting
joy.
Pencils. Join us tomorrow.
We're all in this together.